This is my Divine Principle book, and today we are going to talk about the commandment. When we talk about the commandment, we ask the question, if God wanted children, why did he have to give them a commandment if he's all perfect and everything? Because then they'd be perfect, then why would he have to test them and all this kind of stuff, right? So the principle says that human beings, in order to reach perfection, they have to fulfill their own portion of responsibility. And so that means that there has to be something that they're left to manage on their own. Without that, then they don't qualify as anything other than God's favorite puppet. And all the other creatures in the universe, they really wouldn't really respect human beings if that was the case. So human beings had to fulfill some portion of responsibility, and the commandment was set up as an object of faith that by fulfilling this commandment, the entire universe could see that Adam and Eve had what it takes to sit next to Heavenly Father, next to God, as his equal, as co-creators, as family to God. Whereas the rest of creation would be in a lesser position, not the children of God. That is the reason for the commandment. If Adam and Eve had fulfilled that portion of responsibility, obeyed that commandment, they would simultaneously demonstrate that they have within them the love of God and can stand as God's partner and be governed by God through the love that God imagined having in his heart from the very beginning. So human beings are meant to be governed by love. Now, during the time when they're still immature and had not fulfilled their portion of responsibility, they were governed by the principle. Now, the power of love is meant to be stronger and more meaningful than the power of the principle. So another reason why Adam and Eve had to receive a commandment was so that unprincipled love wouldn't tickle the fancy of Adam and Eve and then have them locked into a bad pattern of love forever and ever and ever. So God gave them a commandment so that they would stay away from false love, and as we talked about, that means a false concept of sexuality. Divine principle makes very clear that the principle is no reason for human beings to have sex. The human beings do not have sex because of the principle. If that were the case, then they could not be expected to fulfill their portion of responsibility. So if Adam and Eve had succeeded, then they would be the lords of all the principle and the lords of love, and so everything in the cosmos would clearly come to respect such a creature, and that's what God had in mind, and that's why God gave the commandment. Adam and Eve, from the moment of their perfection and their blessing with God, would never fall for unprincipled versions of love, because it would be clearly seen as a lesser love. It would be clearly seen as something that doesn't have as much benefits as what they're already experiencing. It doesn't yield as much joy and excitement as what they're already experiencing. So the commandment was only necessary during the time when Adam and Eve had yet to fulfill their portion of responsibility through the formation, growth, and perfection stage. But after that, the commandment wouldn't be necessary, and God would give their blessing. And the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, or Eve's sexuality, would be consumed by Adam and Eve, and they would multiply good children. So the commandment, do not eat the fruit, only applies to immature human beings. Multiplying immaturity is a bad thing. That's a good reason for the commandment, do not eat. Like, share, subscribe. Talk to you later.